Welcome everyone to Pokestrive. Get ready to dive into a world of strategic, team-based gameplay, where every decision counts and every victory feels earned. Now, onto the topic of whether this spells the end for Pokemon Unite. While Pokestrive introduces a fresh take on the genre, it's premature to declare the end of Pokemon Unite. Both games offer unique experiences that can cater to different audiences, and the future of Pokemon gaming holds endless possibilities. So let's embrace this new adventure in Pokestrive, while keeping an eye on the evolving landscape of Pokemon gaming. Let's get into the topic. Connectivity issue. The decline of Pokemon Unite has indeed been swift and disheartening for its loyal fanbase. What initially promised to be a captivating blend of Pokemon charm and strategic MOBA gameplay has regrettably devolved into a cesspool of frustration and disillusionment. At the forefront of these issues lie the persistent technical problems plaguing the game. Connectivity issues, server instability, and frequent lag spikes have become commonplace, disrupting matches and robbing players of the smooth experience they deserve. Despite assurances from the developers, these issues persist unabated, driving even the most patient players to abandon ship. Certainly, let's explore the persistent technical problems plaguing modern gaming in a more elaborative paragraph format. In the realm of modern gaming, a shadow looms over the otherwise immersive experience promised to players: the specter of technical issues. At the forefront of these challenges are connectivity problems, server instability, and the dreaded phenomenon of lag spikes. These issues, once sporadic annoyances, have now become entrenched obstacles, disrupting matches and robbing players of the seamless experience they rightfully expect. Despite reassurances from game developers, these problems persist with alarming frequency, pushing even the most patient players to the brink of frustration and, in many cases, abandonment. Connectivity issues manifest in various forms, from the arduous task of logging into game servers to the frustrating experience of being abruptly disconnected mid-game. Such hurdles not only deter new players from diving into the gaming world, but also drive away seasoned veterans. Server instability compounds the problem, as erratic performance and unexpected crashes leave players stranded in digital limbo, unsure if their progress will be saved or lost to the abyss of technical malfunctions. Lag spikes, perhaps the most universally loathed of these issues, strike suddenly and without warning, disrupting the flow of gameplay and shattering immersion. These disruptions not only diminish the enjoyment of individual players, but also tarnish the reputation of games and their developers. As players clamor for solutions to these persistent technical woes, the onus falls on developers to invest in robust infrastructure, implement effective troubleshooting measures, and prioritize the player experience above all else. Only then can the promise of smooth, uninterrupted gaming be realized, and players be truly immersed in the worlds they so eagerly inhabit. Pay to win. The game's monetization model has only exacerbated matters, drawing widespread criticism for its unabashed pay-to-win mechanics. Deep-pocketed players can effortlessly buy their way to victory, acquiring powerful Pokemon and items that grant them an unfair advantage over their less affluent counterparts. The exorbitant prices of in-game gems only serve to widen the gap between paying and non-paying players, alienating those who are unwilling or unable to fork out significant sums for digital goods. The pricing of essential in-game items such as Hollowware gems, high Hollowware, and battle passes. At the center of this controversy is the staggering cost associated with these digital commodities, which far exceeds what many players deem reasonable or justifiable. Hollowware gems, the currency required to unlock cosmetic upgrades and enhancements, are priced at levels that place them out of reach for all but the most financially affluent players. This not only creates a financial barrier to accessing desirable content, but also exacerbates the divide between paying and non-paying players. High Hollowware, coveted for its ability to bestow powerful advantages in battles, commands exorbitant prices that alienate a significant portion of the player base. Additionally, the absence of avenues for acquiring Hollowware through non-monetary means further compounds the issue, leaving players with no recourse but to either open their wallets or resign themselves to a perpetual disadvantage. The introduction of battle passes, ostensibly intended to provide a pathway for earning rewards through gameplay, falls short of its promise due to prohibitive costs and a lack of meaningful incentives for non-paying players. In the absence of accessible alternatives, the game's monetization model perpetuates a cycle of inequality and frustration, undermining the enjoyment and fairness of the gaming experience for all involved. As discontent among the player base continues to mount, developers must heed the calls for reform and reevaluate their approach to monetization, lest they risk alienating their audience and compromising the long-term sustainability of the game.
Meta Pokémon.
Adding insult to injury is the dismal state of balance within the game. Certain Pokemon reign supreme, dominating matches with minimal effort, while others languish in obscurity, relegated to the sidelines due to their lack of viability in the competitive meta. This blatant imbalance not only undermines the integrity of gameplay but also fosters an environment of frustration and resentment among players. The frustration among players is further compounded by the glaring lack of balance within the game. A handful of Pokemon, such as Tyranitar, Trevenant, and Scizor, have emerged as dominant forces within the competitive meta, overshadowing their counterparts and dictating the flow of battles with relative ease. These so-called meta Pokemon possess an overwhelming combination of stats, abilities, and move sets that afford them a significant advantage over their peers. Their ubiquity in battles not only stifles diversity but also diminishes the strategic depth and variety that are hallmarks of a balanced gaming experience. Players who opt to field non-meta Pokemon often find themselves at a distinct disadvantage, struggling to compete against opponents wielding these overpowering creatures. This imbalance not only erodes the enjoyment of battles, but also breeds feelings of frustration and helplessness among those who feel compelled to conform to the prevailing meta in order to remain competitive. Furthermore, the prominence of these meta Pokemon serves to perpetuate a cycle of stagnation, as players gravitate towards the same limited pool of options, stifling innovation and creativity in team building and strategy. The persistence of these broken Pokemon within the meta not only undermines the integrity of competitive gameplay, but also undermines the trust and goodwill of the player base. As players continue to clamor for a more balanced and equitable gaming experience, developers must prioritize efforts to address the root causes of this imbalance, whether through adjustments to Pokemon stats and abilities, the introduction of new countermeasures, or other means of fostering diversity and fairness within the game. Failure to heed these calls risks alienating players and jeopardizing the long-term health and sustainability of the game. Updates. Furthermore, the game's update and content release schedule leave much to be desired. Instead of delivering meaningful additions and improvements, updates often consist of minor tweaks and bug fixes that fail to address the game's most pressing issues. The lack of innovation and excitement has left players disillusioned and disengaged, with many simply waiting in vain for the game to regain its former glory. The lack of substantial updates is a significant point of contention among players. Instead of delivering meaningful additions and improvements, updates often consist of minor tweaks and bug fixes that fail to address the game's most pressing issues. This lack of substantive progress leaves players feeling unsatisfied and disillusioned, as they yearn for updates that bring tangible enhancements to their gaming experience. Additionally, the dearth of innovation and excitement in updates contributes to player disengagement. Rather than introducing exciting new features or gameplay mechanics, updates tend to recycle the same old patch notes, leaving players craving for something fresh and stimulating. This repetition fosters a sense of stagnation and monotony, driving players away from the game in search of more dynamic gaming experiences elsewhere. Furthermore, the underutilization of in-game currencies, such as tickets, represents a missed opportunity for engagement and progression. These currencies could serve as a valuable resource for unlocking new content and customization options, such as trainer outfits or Pokemon Holoware. By accumulating tickets over time, players could have a tangible incentive to engage with the game and work towards specific rewards, injecting a sense of purpose and achievement into their gameplay experience. In light of these frustrations, it's imperative that developers prioritize innovation and player feedback in their update and content release strategies. By delivering substantive updates that address player concerns and introduce compelling new content, developers can reinvigorate player interest and reestablish the game as a vibrant and engaging gaming experience. Failure to do so risks further alienating the player base and hastening the decline of the game's community. Downfall of Pokemon Unite. The current state of Pokemon Unite paints a grim picture, as the game finds itself ensnared in a downward spiral of technical deficiencies, exploitative monetization strategies, imbalanced gameplay, and lackluster updates. These fundamental flaws have collectively eroded player trust and satisfaction, leaving many disillusioned with the game's direction and uncertain about its future prospects. At the forefront of these issues are persistent technical problems that disrupt gameplay and undermine the overall experience. From connectivity issues and server instability to frequent lag spikes, players are frequently confronted with obstacles that hinder their enjoyment and immersion in the game world. Despite assurances from developers, these issues persist unabated, contributing to a sense of frustration and alienation among the player base. Furthermore, the game's monetization practices have drawn widespread criticism for their exploitative nature. The pay-to-win mechanics, exorbitant prices for in-game items, and lack of viable alternatives for non-paying players have fostered an environment where financial resources often dictate success and progression. This imbalance not only undermines the integrity of gameplay, but also perpetuates feelings of inequality and resentment among players. Coupled with these issues is the imbalanced gameplay, where certain Pokémon dominate the meta while others languish in obscurity. This lack of balance not only stifles diversity and strategic depth, but also exacerbates feelings of frustration and helplessness among players who are unable to compete on equal footing. Moreover, the uninspired updates and lack of meaningful content additions have further contributed to player disillusionment. Instead of addressing the game's most pressing issues and introducing innovative features, updates often consist of minor tweaks and recycled content, leaving players yearning for more substantive improvements. In light of these challenges, the future of Pokémon Unite appears uncertain unless drastic action is taken to address its fundamental flaws. Developers must prioritize player feedback and take decisive steps to rectify technical shortcomings, overhaul exploitative monetization practices, and rebalance gameplay. Only through a concerted effort to prioritize fair play and enjoyment over profit-driven motives can Pokémon Unite hope to regain the trust and support of its disillusioned player base. In conclusion, while some may speculate about the future of Pokémon Unite in light of new releases or competition in the gaming market, it's premature to declare its end. Pokémon Unite has garnered a dedicated player base since its launch, and its ongoing updates and support from developers indicate a commitment to its longevity. Additionally, the Pokémon franchise has a proven track record of resilience and adaptability, with various games coexisting and thriving within the same ecosystem. While the gaming landscape may evolve with the introduction of new titles, Pokémon Unite's fate will likely depend on its ability to maintain player interest through engaging content, community engagement, and addressing any issues or concerns raised by its player base. As enthusiasts continue to enjoy the game and share their experiences, the discussion around the future of Pokémon Unite will undoubtedly remain active. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news and discussions surrounding Pokémon Unite and other exciting titles in the franchise. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you more content like this.